Hey there, if you're new to our YouTube channel, I'm Caitlin Elford. I'm the owner and lead educator here at Lash Artistry. And today I'm gonna quickly run you through how to assess your client's natural lashes in order to determine which dimension or diameter you're gonna use within your set to suit not only your client's natural lashes as a whole, but to suit each individual natural lash that your client has in order to keep those lashes beautiful and strong underneath those awesome extensions. So first, when we begin assessing, we're gonna get our model just to open their eyes and look straight ahead. Just make sure they're not looking from side to side because it can kind of throw off your mapping a little bit and your styling. I would say Antonia has an exotic eye shape. So what that means is that her eye lengthwise is about twice as long or longer, depending on the client, as the actual part of her eye that is open, so the width of her eye. So this is, in lengthwise, twice as long as that width. So what we're gonna do to open that eye up and make it look even bigger and more almond-like, we're going to use stronger curls to lift it up and give it an even more open effect. The curls that you would use for lift and to open would be our more dramatic curls. We could use a CC curl, a D curl, a DD curl, or an L curl for this. And since we're going for an American volume set today, which you really want a lot of texture, I'm gonna mix all of those curls together. And I really wanna work with those stronger curls. Let's say Antonia didn't have the shape eyes and instead we were just working on just elongating or something. No matter what I was doing for Antonia's lashes, I would wanna work with a stronger curl because if you can see from the top, her lashes kind of already naturally flow down and already a little like obstruct her view a little bit just because they're so long and thick and they are pointing down into her eyes. So if I used a C curl or a B curl or something with less curl for my lashes, it would actually obstruct her view and would not be a good match for her natural lashes. So let's dive in for a look at Antonia's natural lashes. So it's really easy to check out Antonia's lashes and see that her lashes are very clearly strong. They're so long and so thick for the most part. And I find a mistake that a lot of people make is that they automatically see those really strong lashes and assume, okay, this person can handle pretty much anything. And on some of these lashes, you're totally right. They can handle a lot of weight. They're very, very strong. But let's take a little bit of a closer look. So we've got all three stages of growth within her lashes. And these, teenager lashes, these guys aren't gonna be able to handle as much weight as those really thick lashes like this one. They're not gonna be able to handle as much weight. So you have to really complement each lash and choose a dimension or a diameter that works for each individual lash that your client has. So you can see another little tiny lash there. So many different lashes, different strength lashes. And then there's little tiny ones like this guy. I hope you can see this little tiny lash here. I would definitely skip this lash. It is not ready. It's very much an anagen lash and we want to leave that one and let him grow a little bit. So if we were working with handmade volume for Antonia's lashes, then we would want to go in and mix different fans for each lash. So if we found the really strong lash, and say we're using a 0.07 diameter lash, we'd want to do our higher dimension fans on our more intense, our longer lashes. And then we want to go ahead and make our fans a little bit smaller. If you're using the same diameter, you're going to want to make your fans a little bit smaller for those in-between size lashes. And then smallest, let's say like a 3D for those smaller, finer, natural lashes in order to keep those very, very healthy. So this is kind of the beauty of making your own handmade fans. And if you're working with pro fans, there's no problem at all, but you do need to have a lot more trays on hand because they come in individual trays. So you'll find you'll have all 4D lashes in a tray, all 5D in one tray, and all 6D or so on in each individual tray. So you want to make sure that you have tons of dimensions on hand so that you can mix them together in order to create a really lightweight and beautiful finish for your client that's going to keep those lashes healthy. So I know this means that you have to have a lot of products on hand, but every client is going to need more than one dimension. So it's definitely important if you are working with those lashes to make sure that they stay super, super healthy and mix those dimensions together. So if you're unfamiliar with how to choose a dimension, we actually have this little chart here that you can look at. And as long as you know how to assess the natural lash when you're working with classics, then you'll be able to choose a dimension that will suit your client for whichever diameter tray of lashes that you're using. So print this off, take a screenshot, print it off, and you can look back on this anytime and just do your assessment as you would a classic lash assessment. So for Antonia, because she has such strong lashes, if I were determining which lash to use for classics, I could go all the way up to a 0.2 for her in a classic lash, or even a 0.25 in a flat lash. I wouldn't necessarily, just because I don't often work with those personally, and I move up to volume just because people seem to like the aesthetic of that more for the most part. But you could go all the way up to 0.25 in flat and 0.2 in classics. But then for those other lashes, you'd still want to use your 0.15s and maybe even some 0.12s in there as well, just to make sure that they stay nice and healthy. So my suggestion is to always have this chart printed off and laid next to you so you can refer back to it anytime in order to know how high you can go when you're choosing a dimension depending on the diameter that you're using. And that way you don't have to stress yourself out. You know exactly how high you can push the limits in order to keep the lashes very healthy.